This is the video for Friday, March the 12th, and I'd say it was a good week, and we are starting to build up a complex bullish pattern here as we have 1, 2, 3 days now in the bullish area. And what we want to see is just what we saw on Friday, which is advancers barely leading decliners. So the bulls are just slightly stronger than the bears, and we keep the McClellan oscillator in this area right here, right around 100, churning in there like we did in here. See in here? This was towards the end of last year, and look at what happened to the market during that time. So let's look at FinViz and let's just see what happened in the day. From the Dow, from the get-go, up all the way. Nasdaq picked up around 1130. Nasdaq, they say, is affected by the future bonds because there's a lot of heavy borrowing to buy some of these heavy tech stocks. And you can see that on Friday, let's make sure we refreshed here, the tech stocks certainly did not look good. The financials, the banks looked good. The bank services didn't look so good, except for American Express. But Visa, MasterCard, PayPal were all down. Amazon, Tesla were down. Nike was down. Consumer defensive, Coca-Cola was down, but everything else was up. And in the healthcare sector, remember, I'm building up a position in AbbVie, Abbott, and in ALEC, a biotech company with a second stage phase 2 Alzheimer drug. And you can see that healthcare was pretty healthy. But look at the Nasdaq bounce back under pretty low volume. But the S&P had not bad volume, and it also pulled up towards the end of the day. The Dow had no problem in pulling up almost 300 points. The Nasdaq was the only one that was down, and the S&P 500 just barely squeaked ahead. So let's take a look at the weekly charts, and let's look at the Dow. So the Dow had a tremendous week, finished up above 127.2. This is probably our yearly Fibonacci. But look at that week for the Dow. Let's take a look at NASDAQ. The NASDAQ finished up at the top of its range. Let's just get rid of this green line here. And the Chiku span, you can see, just bounced off of, this is the daily, just bounced off of the 20. But it was nice to see that it finished up on its high of the day. And on a weekly basis, we finished below the 50-day daily moving average. This is a daily moving average on a weekly chart. I just do that. And you can see that we finished just below 161.8% on the Fibonacci's that we're using. So pretty good sign. The volatility, where's our volatility? Right here. Let's look at the weekly volatility. The weekly volatility dropped considerably. It dropped from a high of 2761 down to sit just on top of where we arbitrarily drew that green line. But this channel is where we call the comfort zone. And when we're in the comfort zone, the stock market has pretty healthy drives upwards. So we're just up above that, and it's looking like the volatility, this RSI, this SMI says it's over sold. S&P weekly finished at a new high. So the new high for the new high now is right up here. We can move that a little bit higher. So that's very bullish for the S&P to have finished higher on the week. Apple finished up just below the 8, but let's see how it did on a weekly basis. On a weekly basis, forming this hanging man here, sort of like a guy suspended between two rings in gymnastics, and that's a identifiable candle. Take a look at what it means. But we're in between the 200s and the 50. So this is sort of an indecision land, but certainly getting a bounce off of the 200 was bullish. Only up 8 cents, but Abbott is forming this little breakout triangle here. This is a bullish, I hope that's not too loud in the background. If I get up and close the window, it's just going to extend this video. So let's hurry up. Gord Lightfoot playing in one ear and my neighbor trimming his yard in the other ear. But that's a bullish signal. What else do we want to look at? Remember, I'm building up a position in Apple as well, in IBM in a retirement account. simply because of its dividend. Boeing had a great week, didn't it? Look at Boeing popping up above the cloud. Look where the Chiku span finished, right in this thin cloud, but on a weekly basis, it should pop right through that cloud, and you can expect Boeing to get stronger. BLDR, which we got out of, ended up the day up $1.87, but still below where I sold it for. On a weekly basis, look at that pop. I did sell it just under this 47.48, probably around 47.30. I believe I sold and I got out. Looks good, and I've got that alarm set to buy back in again. As I said, the banks did well. NEO down a tiny bit, but look at that nice recovery on the day. And let's look at it on the week. Look at NEO on the week, recovering a lot of what it lost last week. But this is the important thing for NEO, was that it bounced off the 200 daily moving average. Remember, this is a weekly candle, that's fine, but this is a daily moving average that I chart right there. Square is the other big stock that I've got, and I keep rolling my shorts there because I'm just not ready to commit to buying more than I have right now. I have 1,500 shares. So I just keep rolling my 250 shorts, my 260 shorts, and I rolled my 210 shorts because they would have been taken away from me clearly. I rolled them into 212. So I'm going to pick up a few $100, that's all, but it's a safe few $100. And if there is a pullback looking for support on the cloud, you know, I'll be able to take a little bit of profit on those short calls, which will compensate me for losing the stock. But I bought the stock on the dip, so I bought the stocks in the 205, 208, 210 area, and now I've got 212 short calls. PRGS is the other one that we're looking at, and we're looking at this CD completion on the Gartley. This was very nice, where it finished down on the day, but it finished up in its range, but on a weekly basis. That's pretty nice. That's a pretty strong stock right there, and keep an eye on that one for going to 47.28 and possibly 49.02. At 47.28, I'm going to start putting on a trailing stop for that position, although it's not a very big position right now. I think it's 200 or 300 shares. We didn't talk about Square yet, did we? Sometimes I forget what I talked about. But it finished up on the day. That was very strong. And on a weekly basis, very nice from its recovery from the last 3 weeks where it had red candles. This was a nice pop-up, and remember that the Bitcoins of the world are doing very well, and Square is sort of tied to that. So keep it under 8 minutes today. It's getting too noisy in the background. I really apologize. Have a good weekend. See you on Monday. Stay bullish. Buy the dips.